this video, I'm going over pictures from my presidential traverse trip between April 30th and April 31st. Here's a quick view of all the pictures. First off, what is a presidential traverse? Well, a presidential traverse, as we can see in the map here, is this purple and pink path. I split it into 2 days. The pink is day 1, purple is day 2, but it crosses mountains in the presidential range, which are named after presidents. So the first mountain is Mount Madison, second is Mount Adams, then Mount Jefferson here, then Mount Washington, then Mount Monroe, Mount Eisenhower, and Mount Pierce. It starts north at the Appalachia Trailhead, falls along the Valley Way Trail, goes up to the Valley Way tent site and the Madison Spring Hut, and it ends down at the Highland Center off of the Crawford Path. It is about 18 miles long. Day 1 was about 8 miles long, with about 6,000 feet of ascent and 2,000 feet of descent. Day 2 has about 2,400 feet of ascent and 5,400 feet of descent. And day 2 is about 10 miles. So that is the route. It's a classic route in the area. Pretty fantastic. One of the best hikes you can do because from here to about here, you're above tree line the whole way. Unfortunately, the ground is precarious and the weather is precarious. So you can't just, have your head up and looking at the views all the time. You spend most of the time looking down anyway to make sure you don't kill yourself. This is a picture of the trailhead, the Appalachia Trailhead before we started. This is the valley at the Valley Way tent site. This is one of the few pictures you have in the trees. Almost the entirety of it is above the trees. That's me. This is the first scenic view that you get. This is looking north. Up there, this is Mount Cabot. Mount Wombeck is right behind the trees here. This has a cool sign that tells us it's very dangerous up ahead. Don't go forward if you don't know what you're doing, which is true. The weather is severe up here. This is the Madison Valley Hut, one of the high mountain huts operated by the AMC. It is closed down right now. It'll open in a few months or a month or so. That's a view up to Mount Madison. This is a panorama from around the hut. This is Donald Jong. He was my partner for the trip. We met through the MIT outing club called My Talk. Over to our west is Mount Adams, hidden by a cloud right now. The thing that we can see here is the beginning of Mount John Quincy Adams, which is an in-between mountain that doesn't really count. Back here would be Star Lake, and Mount Madison is up there. Here's a view from the side of Mount Madison. This is Mount Washington. You can see the auto road here. This is Chandler Brook. This is the edge of Mount Adams. Between us is the Madison Gulf. Here's a view from the same spot of the Wildcat Mountains and the Carter Mountains. This is a Wildcat ski resort. Down here, this is the Pinkham Notch run by the AMC. Has the Joe Dodge Lodge where you can stay overnight before starting your trip. There's a selfie from the peak of Mount Madison, the first peak of the day. Right here you can see Mount Moriah, one of the 4,000 foot mountains. Down here is the town of Gorham, or that's Gorham, I don't remember. Here's a panorama from the top of Mount Madison. Pretty cool weather situation that we have because the cloud is right above us. It cuts a line along everything, showing you what's taller than us and what is not taller than us. So we are higher up than all the Carters over here and the Wildcats. This is the Osgood Ridge, part of Mount Madison. Down here is the Hawker Ridge. This is the Gordon Ridge, the Durand Ridge here. In between here is the King Ravine and the Newell Ridge. Up here we have the town of Randolph. This is the Pliny Range and the Pilot Range where Cabot and Wombeck are. Mount Adams is over here. And then there's Mount Washington, with the auto road. Nelson Crag is somewhere up here. That's the Great Gulf over there. Here's Donald and I looking at Mount Washington on the top of Mount Madison. Here's the first video that we took. As you can see, it was pretty windy there. Pretty windy for most of this day. The winds were up to 40 to 50 miles an hour. This is from the same spot. We're going up Mount Adams, and here is me down here. Donald took this picture. Far distance here, you can probably see the Bigelow Reserve Mountains. They're up in Maine, about 70 miles away. This is an example of what happens up in this area. You can see this is what happens to all the signs. So you better not rely on any signs to navigate when it's snow season, which is like 9 months of the year up in this area. This is a selfie on top of Mount Adams. As you can see, we were in a cloud. Here's a view of Mount Adams when we were coming off of Mount Adams. Kind of looked pretty to me, so I took a picture. And here we are coming off of Mount Adams. This is the Great Gulf here, and then Jefferson Ravine is right in here. This is Mount Jefferson, Mount Washington. I believe this is one of the crags. Mount Washington, that's probably Nelson Crag, and then Agiochuk Crag here. This is, you can see Mount Kerrigan and Mount Osceola right there. And that would be Mount Tecumseh, that little bit right there. These are the Osceolas, Tecumseh, and Kerrigan, 4,000 foot mountains. That would be that's probably Moosilauke. And you can see some of the Franconia Ridge over here. That's me. Same spot. This picture was taken by Donald. Here is looking up at Adams with, I believe this is probably Sam Adams, between us and Adams. It just starts getting really pretty with all these giant snowfields. We forgot to bring snowshoes, which was a real problem right around now because this is some deep and squishy snow. Here's a view of the ridge going towards Jefferson. Here's a panorama taken standing on top of a stone that overlooks Jefferson Ravine. This is all Jefferson Ravine. You see the Carters and the Wildcats. North Carter, Middle Carter, South Carter, Mount Height, Carter Dome, Wildcat, Wildcat B, Wildcat C, Wildcat E, and Wildcat D. All of those are above 4,000 feet, although only some of them count as 4,000 footers. This is the edge of Mount Washington. This would be the Chandler Ridge area of Mount Washington. We're looking into what is called the Great Gulf Wilderness, and you have Pinkham Notch over there. Here's the actual Great Gulf right in this area. This would be Nelson Crag, and then Ball Crag right there, and Agiochuk. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's an Indian name. Agiochuk Crag. Looking this way, here, this is the only guy we saw that day. He had snowshoes. That was very smart. He was much faster than us. This is Donald Chong. He's an experienced mountaineer, has done a number of 14,000 foot volcanoes out west, Rainier twice. So he was good to have along. Piece of cake to him. Look out this way in this long distance, this last level out here. I think that's Jay Peak. This is all in Vermont. This is Mount Wambeck right there. Mount Cabot is right behind Donald. That's probably Jay Peak. And then, yeah, this is Mount Mansfield. This little bit right there is Mount Mansfield. And that is that's Camel's Hump. And over here is Abraham and Ellen, the other 4,000 footers that you can see that are in the Green Mountains. This is Mount Jefferson. This is really cool. These formations happen everywhere. The same exact kind of ice formation. And what you realize is happening is they all point into the direction of the wind. So if this thing is pointing this way, the wind is going that way. And what's happening here, when you have the face of a rock, relatively flat face of a rock, pointing into the prominent direction of the wind, you end up with this pattern, which is really pretty. The air is pouring outwards from the center, like if you are pouring a cup out onto a table and you see the water spread out. It's the same thing with the wind hitting this rock. Here's another example. It's beautiful. These are everywhere. Crystal structures, ice structures, just telling you what the direction of the wind usually is. There's Carter Dome. Now here we are on top of Mount Jefferson. And we're looking at Mount Washington, Ball Crag, Agiochuk, Nelson Crag, Chandler Ridge, Great Gulf in between us. Here is Mount Clay. There's Mount Monroe, Little Monroe, Ben Franklin, and Eisenhower. Off in the far distance, we have a number of significant mountains in the 4,000-foot mountains. I believe this is Mount Whiteface and Passaconaway. And then these are the Tri-Pyramids. Here's where the cog railway goes, right along there. You can kind of see the mark of it, and you can see the auto road up this way. Panorama from the top of Jefferson. The Carters and Wildcats. This is Mount Moriah. 70 miles away over in this direction is the rest of the AT and all the tall mountains in Maine. Here is Mount Adams. There's Mount Wambeck and Cabot in the Pilot and Pliny Range. Somewhere back there is, like somewhere around here are the Ellens. There's Ellen and Abraham, and I think that's probably Mount Mansfield. Pemigewasset Wilderness area of mountains. Breton Woods Ski Resort. Crawford Notch down here. This spot right there is where the cog railway starts. There's Pierce, Eisenhower, Ben Franklin, Little Monroe, and then Clay between us. Mount Kerrigan there. This is Tom, Field, and Wiley. Mount Bond here. Mount Muslaki back here. Mount Lincoln. Mount Lafayette. Garfield back here. South Twin, North Twin. Guyot here. That's Osceola. These are the Hancocks, Kerrigan, the Tri-Pyramids, Whiteface, Passaconaway. Those are the 4,000 footers that we can see here. Here's our selfie with Mount Washington behind us and the Great Gulf. Here's another example of how useless signs are. These beautiful ice structures that are growing on them over the whole winter. And here's where we made our camp. Clay over here, and then Jefferson is off to the right. And we set ourselves up between some rocks to get some shelter. Pretty cool place to spend a few hours just chilling out, eating dinner, cooking, boiling our water, melting snow really. It takes like 3 hours to melt all the snow. There's Donald working on setting some stuff up while I take a picture. This is Mount Jefferson. And this is Mount Clay. This is what it looked like. This is where we ate dinner. It was over in this patch, watching the sunset. Here's a view from on top of that rock that overlooks our tent site. We're on this is like 4 feet of snow right here. There's, this is all right behind us would be the Great Gulf. This area down here is the Great Gulf. There's Moriah and the Carters back there. Clay, and you can see the auto road right there. There's Lafayette, Field, Tom, and Wiley Range right there. Breton Woods. And the sun. Here is a panorama shot by Donald with me standing on top of that rock shooting the other panorama. A still photo from on top of that rock with Lafayette in the background. This tent is a Black Diamond First Light tent. It's a single wall, very light, 3-pound tent that is designed for mountaineering to be able to stand up to high winds while being very, very light. And it did that. We had some windy time over the night. It was maybe some gusts up to 50 miles an hour. I don't know, probably more like 40. Quite a comfortable night. I really enjoyed it. Here's from Donald, standing somewhere similar. More pictures as the sun is setting, and another sunset. I believe this is the last picture, or second to last. This was Donald's picture. Here's a panorama from Donald down the hill a bit. Jefferson over here, our camp over here, with me crouching working on something. And that's the last photo. And I'm going to produce another video of day 2. Thank you. Bye.